Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be reacting to
Culture shock from living in the US and a reverse culture shock.
You had a great weekend. You're productive. How was your day? It was super productive.
He was angry. He almost kicked me out.
You want to walk? We're like, yeah, that's a normal thing to do.
You've got home, you've got work, you've got a place you exist in the middle where
I'm a little confused. They're all Americans though. Like, so what culture shock from living in the US if they're Americans?
it's cheap enough that you can like hang out with people and like converse and not break the bank. We don't really have that here.
Hello everyone and welcome to the newest Culture Shock video. Today's video is about everyone's beloved country, the one that so many people love to talk trash about, the United States. I was in Arizona for a TravelCon conference recently and had a chance to talk to foreigners about their culture shocks living in the country, as well as Americans about their reverse culture shocks coming back to the country after some time away. It was actually so interesting to get that deep insight into the American culture.
Oh, so I guess I'll come from culture shocks from coming back.
One that I, as a Canadian, didn't really expect. I mean, I live next door, and yet
51st state, she said.
a lot of these things were super interesting. You know, things like the walking culture, getting advertising about drugs and weird things like that on TV, you know, with the little side effects of, you know, nausea, cancer, death. Those kind of things don't really happen in Canada.
Allergic reactions such as shortness of breath, swelling of your tongue or throat may occur and in rare cases may be fatal.
By the way, I was in Arizona for 10 days total, and one thing that I really hate about traveling is the hassle of getting a SIM card. So you get to the hotel from the airport. First of all, you need internet to do that, and so that's really hard to do without a SIM card. You have to then locate a convenience store to get a SIM card.
Okay,
and in
I
the case
think
of
it's an
Arizona,
ad.
it's Uber. This is why now on the market, they looked at it, they super complicated. Number two, dating for future travel. On a video call with this really angry German lady who was like yelling at me like, to the right, to the left, turn the passport this way, no, I cannot see it. Freaked me out so much, it literally felt like I was gonna be arrested if I didn't do all those 3 steps right. The biggest annoyance for that was that I was only in Germany for a week, and then I was going to Austria, and then I was going to another European country. With Saily, you can get a regional plan, which is especially great if you're traveling big
Oh, we're
regions,
still
like
on the ad?
the Saily app.
Have you experienced any culture shock coming here to the US?
It's my first time here in a couple of years, and there's just certain things that you forget that when you arrive, like every car here is about 4 times the size of what we have at home. The portion sizes for any kind of food, again, much bigger, so everything's bigger in the US.
So Germans are very private. We're not an open book like Americans are. So that was a little bit of an adjustment for me. You know, it takes me longer to make good friendships. It takes like several months, and I need to really get to know someone before I really open up. Americans are way different. You know, the first time you meet them, they'll tell you their entire life story.
People are so deep into politics and religion here. Like, it's like such an identifier. 3 things actually: religion, politics, and your job. Like, people, when they introduce themselves, hi, my name is this is my job, and I'm a Republican.
I think that the culture shock coming back to the States is harder for me.
I don't know if that's true. I don't really know the people that, you know, let's say play basketball with. I don't know their jobs. I don't know their political beliefs. I don't know their religions. I don't know. I don't know. Not really.
I don't know. I think it really depends.
I don't know.
And it's my own culture, and I'm like, ooh, really don't like that. It feels significantly faster here and less authentic. I feel like, you know, people mask what they're actually thinking a little more. Also, there's no trains here. There's like, the trains that we do have here are not that good. So like, I really like going to other places and experiencing like functional public transit, and then I come back here and I'm like, oh yeah, 48 hours to travel across the US on a train, that's terrible.
It's actually one of the things that's most frustrating for me when I come back home is like not being able to walk. If I'm working in the US, I might wake up, drive to work all day long, drive home, walk around my house and nothing else, and that's my day. Whereas in Spain, wake up, walk to work. I was able to walk to work, luckily. Walk to the grocery store, walk home, walk to meet friends, which also is one of the things that I love so much about Spain. On a Tuesday night, I'm like, hey guys, want to go out for dinner tonight? It's 6 p.m., want to meet at 8 p.m. In the US, I will literally text my friends on Sunday, hey, can anybody meet any day this week to go to dinner? Well, maybe next week, because, you know, we're just really busy and we haven't done our laundry yet. It's just like, what?
Do you feel like you could live in your city without driving?
Absolutely not. I would have to walk a lot and spend half the day trying to get a bus.
Yeah. How old were you when you got your license?
Oh, I was 16, right on my birthday. I could not wait. That was my freedom ticket.
So in Germany, we walk everywhere. And then here in the US, you get in your car, even if it's like a 5-minute walk away. When you walk around in like in a residential neighborhood, sometimes people look at you weird for walking around here. And also we use much more public transportation, I feel like. I mean, of course, here in cities like New York, they use it a lot, but where I am in California, it's all about the car.
I don't want to drive. Like, it's nice to just sit on a train.
The way California is built, it's, you know, it's very stretched out. New York has gotten a build up. California's been built wide, so that's, and yeah, in California with public transit, no, not really.
And just go to or sit
Not
on
California, I mean LA.
a train and go to another country. Like I can't do that where I'm from. I could drive 2 or 3 hours and still be in North Carolina. So that part I really don't like that much.
We had an unbelievable experience in Toulon, France. We could leave our condo, walk across the street, be in the walking district, and walk to any number of squares where they're having a jazz concert.
And then you come back here, and we were in Buffalo, and we said, hey, like, are there any restaurants or things we can like walk to from our hotel? And she was like, you want to walk? And we're like, yeah, that's a normal thing to do.
It was a 10-minute walk to the restaurants, and it was shocking to her that we would conceive of walking to them.
Where I live now in the Florida Panhandle, we do have public transportation, but it is notorious for being late by an hour or so. So you can't depend on it to get to work on time. You can't depend on it to get anywhere on time. And we don't.
I wouldn't say all the time, but they have been doing their best to improve. Most of the times, well, the instances where it's late, it's because there's an accident on the track or some sort like this.
Like not knowing if we can get somewhere on time. The what ifs, we don't have a high tolerance for the what ifs. And so that's part of the reason why we won't travel necessarily to somewhere abroad, but we will get in the car and do like a 20+ hour road trip, because in that road trip, we're taking our huge SUVs, which are filled with all of our favorite snacks and our electronics and our pre-downloaded Netflix shows.
Ordering a beer is quite different here. Why? Well, because of the tipping culture. So in Germany, when you go up to the bar and you order a beer, it's not expected that you tip. So when I first came out here and ordered a beer at the bar and didn't tip, obviously.
But he's living here for 15 years. How can you talk about culture shock? It's like me sitting here talking about culture shocks now. I wouldn't even know where to start. I don't remember what was.
I think you
15
really have to
years
think
ago.
about it, yeah.
Yeah, you really like have to. What was shocking for me 15 years ago? Because now you're just so used to everything. So like tipping, it wouldn't be like a shock. It's like okay, I just what it is. You know, I think if anything, going back to Europe maybe would be more shocking. Oh, we don't have to tip. You know.
Bartender got really.
But I'd still tip, like, but because that's the thing, we tipped in Europe too. It just wasn't as much as to tip here, though.
Angry with me, and I didn't understand it. And then I realized, okay, so even if you go up to the bar to get the beer, you still tip. In Germany, you do tip when it's like a sit down and you have a server. Then you do tip, not as much as in the US, but you tip. But yeah, it's not expected that when you walk up to the bar to order beer to tip.
Did he say something, the server?
He did.
What did he say?
He was angry. He almost kicked me out. And I totally understand that now because they make such low wages here, the servers and bartenders.
The lack of third places here, where it's like you've got home, you've got work, you've got a place you exist in the middle where it's cheap enough that you can like hang out with people and like converse and not break the bank. We don't really have that here. Like we have libraries, that's about it, where you can like exist for free. So we live on the road, we live in vans, and one of the places that we don't have to spend any money and aren't expected to leave is a library.
Like restaurants and little places will do that. Coffee shops that don't have a lot of tables will definitely do that. Some coffee shops too, it's like, man, I'm just not trying to spend $8 on this latte.
In America, there's
I wish they said where like overseas they have that, where like a free place where you can just hang out. Cause like what, parks outside, yeah, but we have parks here too.
There's free spaces.
Yeah, like indoors free spaces. Yeah, probably like
Library.
But I don't know where, like in Europe, where would you hang out for free indoors too, though?
Library.
No, well,
Museum,
yeah, library is
maybe.
the same as here, yeah, but well, I guess I don't know, like the big countries' libraries, the libraries, and where I'm at, they're small libraries, so I don't even know if they still exist anymore. People read books.
Yes.
But yeah, like I don't know if there's places you can hang out for free indoors. Outside, yes, of course, like there's plenty of places, but so is here.
so quick to like get you out of the restaurant and put someone else's butt in your seat. Like Isaac will have one french fry on the plate and they come in and try to take it and he's like, whoa, I'm still eating. They're like, go, go, go. And oh, I put the check on the table. Don't feel pressured, but pay it, when you feel like it. It really means like, get out, keep moving. I actually really like slow.
I don't know, everybody keeps saying that, but I never experienced that. And see, everybody like keep emphasizing on that, that they rush. I never felt rushed.
Me either.
I don't know. Maybe because we
If
don't.
it's busy,
But
I can see it if it's really, really busy. Like for example, at the the buffets, they kind of take control of the time to see the traffic flow, and then they bring you the check to let you know, okay, you can pay now, but they don't tell you you have to leave and get up.
I actually like that they bring a check without
Mhm.
having to ask, because I
Mhm.
hate chasing them down asking for a check.
Mhm.
So the fact that they bring the check, I prefer that,
Mhm.
because you just pay whenever you
It
want.
could be that people can take it as, oh, okay, go.
Maybe
I
they
think that's
take
what
it
it
as
is.
that. I never take it as that. I'm like,
Mhm.
I go whenever I go. I
Yeah.
really never once felt
Because
rushed.
I never have heard someone ask, okay, you guys must leave like
Yeah.
after. Mm-mm.
Never, ever.
Mm.
Culture. Like, I wish I could do that all the time and just live in the moment more versus like go, 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 go mentality, which Americans have that very much. And I'm grateful that we have a very productive mentality, but at the same time, I love the slow culture of let's just sit here, enjoy this meal, and then, yeah, I will have room for dessert because I've been sitting here for 4 hours.
In the US, everything has AC and also heater in the winter. I love that. Growing up in a house where we didn't have AC at all and heater either. Now I just wake up and everything is warm. And I remember going to school in the morning, 7 a.m., and I couldn't just get out of the bed because it was like, oh, you could feel it. You know, it's so cold. And I would just change clothes in my bed.
Something that I dislike and that I wish was like abroad is the quality of life, like how much we work here. And I really love like how Europeans, like they really value their life and their free time. And Americans are just like all about working, hustling and burning out, and then just like not really like living life to the fullest. Just wish it wasn't so driven on like hustle and making money and all this stuff, because life goes by very, very quickly.
Someone referred to it as Americans are all about doing, not being.
Yeah. If you say to someone, "How was your weekend?" a common response would be, "It was super productive." And that is a good oh, so you had a great weekend. You're productive. How was your day? It was super productive. It's a very common response because we value.
I've never heard this one.
Never heard it in my life either. Oh, was productive.
Usually, oh, it's good.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. Oh, what did you do? Oh, went
Mhm.
out or like chilled.
Yeah.
Never heard anybody
That was
using
productive.
the specific word productive. The
Yeah.
weekend was productive. No.
Productivity, checking things off the list, getting it done.
Do you feel like Americans or Spaniards are more satisfied with their life?
Spaniards 100%, not a doubt in my mind. Every American I know says they have anxiety, is on anxiety meds. Truthfully, all Americans I know are on anxiety meds, have anxiety. It's their job, it's this, it's that. I obviously don't know every single Spaniard's medications or whatever, but I would say there's so much.
So, but you know every American's medications? You don't
Mm.
know the Spaniards, but you know Americans? Because I don't know people's medications, so I can't comment on that. That's
Mm-mm.
a weird thing to say.
Less of that, and I think a lot of it has to do with the lifestyle. In Europe, they work to live. They work to have
The
money
thing
so they can.
is that what in UK in particular, what was big is to make sure to have like medicines, like those.
I remember the video with the guy.
I wonder if that's only unique to UK because it's rainy and it can be muggy, which makes you sick.
What do you mean to have medicines though?
Like when like certain medications they have to have
At
like,
home?
Mm-hmm.
Well, so do we though.
Yeah.
Like a Tylenol, we always have like a Band-Aid. That's not a medication, but it's like the certain like a basic like a primary care kit. Like
no, it wasn't basic though. There was like for colds.
You talk about the American guy who lives in the UK who like NyQuil he keeps pushing. Well, but NyQuil is like a common medicine. Like it's a that so stuff like that for flu, for like a headache, for like a runny nose, for sore throats. That's just, everybody has that on hand. Like if here we have it in Lithuania, my parents always have that. Like something for your stomach, like a Pepto Bismol is always at home. So I feel those are just common to have at home because that shit can come out of nowhere. So but like these prescription drugs, I mean, it is definitely very common here for prescription drugs. I'm not saying it's not, but for her to say, oh, everybody is, that she knows, first of all, how would she know? Second, to say that everybody, like I'm pretty sure you could find one person in her circle that is not on anxiety meds.
Enjoy their lives. And here it's like, who has more money than who, and who has the better job, and I want to make more money than you, and I want to be able to do this and that and this and that, and it's like, it's stressful.
What is something that you really love about your life in the US, and what is something that you miss about Europe?
I always get sick when I come back too. For the first month, like my stomach will hurt every single time.
And that's the same for if you go to any country because the bacteria is different and just overall in the food and everywhere.
The food is just like not easy in the US, and it's like not great quality. Our soils are like not doing so hot, so even like
I
our
think
produce.
also that's partly why when you're flying they don't let you bring in the food of the place you're coming from, because they don't want you to expose the germs into their environment to tamper with the foods.
That's exactly the reason. Yeah.
And stuff is just not that great for us. So I always get sick for like the first month coming back while my stomach readjusts to this food.
As far as like supermarket food and that goes, I think it's terrible here. There's a lot of like chemicals in the food that are banned in Germany or in Europe in general that you can't put into the foods, and here it's still allowed. And I think that's very problematic.
It's just, I can't. After 9 years, I can feel the side effects of food, all the chemicals and stuff they put in it, in my body physically. So I'm just trying to go into organic now. Because I wasn't aware of that as I am right now. So I just kept eating, right? But now I'm trying to heal physically.
That is a good point she's making. Yeah, you're kind of not aware of that unless you like look into it, right? Yeah, you kind of just think food is food, right? You don't think about it, but there, I want to say there should be more food education, but at the same time, the companies they wouldn't allow it. You know, they would lobby against it. So.
And mentally, so I'm like, oh, they put all this stuff, and that's what I've been eating.
I actually was diagnosed with kidney disease, where doctors like gave me a pill bottle and was like, you have to take a pill every day for the rest of your life. Otherwise, if you don't, you'll get kidney stones. Legit, I would stop taking it for a couple days and I would get stones right away. It wasn't until I met Isaac and he was like, it's like, sorry. And I was like, dude, what's your problem? And he's like, no, I just laugh because when doctors say things like that, it's because they've learned one way to fix something. Where he was like, hey, let's just look at what you're eating and your habits. I changed my lifestyle, my nutritional lifestyle. I eat vegetables, for example, not something I ever did before. Shocking. It was like, potato chips and I don't know, sausages, like anything processed that I could, hamburger helper, Kraft mac and cheese. It has been, I don't know, over 6 years now. I haven't taken a single pill and I don't have any kidney issues at all.
I do like
Interesting statement. So I do agree that there's, doctors, they're not always the best because as the guy said, they know how to fix it, so they fix it. They don't like look for other maybe better ways to fix. So I agree with that. But her diet, what the fuck? Who eats like that? Like what?
About Germany, they have that safety net. So if something happens to you, you're covered. Like if you lose your job, you still have health insurance. It's not like here, if you lose your job, you lose your health insurance, and that's a big problem. And also those 30 days of vacation would be nice. So the work-life balance here is much more difficult. On the other hand, I think it's easier here and it's more supported if you want to build your own business. If you want to be an entrepreneur, I think the US is a great place to be. In Germany, there's much more bureaucracy and they put a lot of roadblocks in your way.
This might be controversial, but people are not as racist blatantly when I'm traveling abroad, and it depends on where you go to. But where I'm from is it's very, red state. Well, it's a swing state, but we was red this year, unfortunately. So that part is it kind of sucks that this is my home. But there are people here in my home that don't really, accept me or, don't like my culture, don't like, me because of the color of my skin. So that really sucks.
What do you think Americans do better than Brits?
I think we could learn a lot from Americans in just how they are, the fact that they put themselves out there, they're self-confident.
Why we barely got this guy in the video? No, I feel like we didn't really get.
Maybe they didn't get the bites they wanted to get from him.
They're willing, they'll.
That's a good point you're actually making. Like we're not getting full interviews; they just pushing a narrative.
They pick and choosing.
That's a great point.
Talk to anybody. You can always spot the Americans abroad because they're the loudest. That's not necessarily always a good thing, but I do admire that confidence a lot. I think Brits and maybe Europeans tend to be a little. It's Northern Europeans certainly. We tend to be a little more naturally reserved.
I think Americans are very good at self-promotion. Like I've heard Europeans say that, Americans are very comfortable talking about what they do and who they are and, like their job and everything. Whereas like a lot of Europeans really struggle with self-promotion.
Yeah, that's so true. When I have British people on my podcast, I even joke with them in the pre-chat, like, okay, I need you to put on your best American persona at the end of our podcast when we record because I'm gonna ask you to promote yourself. Like I have to prepare them. Whereas Americans, they will just right out the gate be like, I wrote a book and I have a show and I have this and that.
I love here the national parks, the beaches, the deserts. There's so many different landscapes, the red rocks everywhere, Utah. It's just incredible. And then the amazing cities too, like New York City, Vegas, San Francisco. So I love that there's so much variety here in the US.
That there are opportunities here. If I want to grow on my business or want to do something, there are tools and resources, even free resources and free tools that I wouldn't have in my country.
There's an optimism, not always, not about all subjects, but you have a conversation with the average American for 5 minutes and you do come away from it feeling better. even if you think you should have said something passive aggressive to make them feel bad.
I really appreciate American optimism. I do. I think it's so great to be hopeful about the future and to be hopeful about your own personal future and the future of other people, and that's really fun. I love how Americans are fun. Like when I've been abroad in a place where there aren't very many Americans, there's like the one American that will go out of his way to come and be like, I heard y'all talking, oh, I'm from Alabama, where are you from? And like just the enthusiasm of connection that I took.
I think that's natural.
Yeah,
I think it will go the other way too.
It does. It goes.
Yeah, when you find others.
Yeah, I had a Lithuanian
Yeah.
lady in a grocery store hear me speak Lithuanian. She came up, so it's not just like
Yeah.
anywhere where you like a minority,
Yeah.
somebody like from that country, they're going. Okay, maybe not everybody, but it's
Mhm.
definitely there's gonna be people who's gonna come. Oh,
True.
yeah, I'm from there. Where you from? Okay, when they hear the language, it's like whenever like we've flown with my family, like we've flown to Turkey or wherever, like always other Lithuanians connect because like
Yeah, that's true.
oh yeah, so it's this is not just American thing.
Took that really for granted until that really happened. That's a real example. We were with a Swedish guy. After the American left the table, the Swedish guy leaned in and he said, if I was somewhere and another Swedish person was there, they wouldn't give two shits that I was also Swedish and sitting in the same restaurant and come over and shake my hand. He's like, that's
Maybe
that's different.
I
I
thi-
don't know.
I think it's just that person. That's just
yeah, that's one unique.
because let's be real, I wouldn't do that either if I saw another Lithuanian.
But that's still not your personality.
That's
to
not
do
exactly.
that.
That's not my personality. But
Yeah.
I'm saying like there have been instances where other people, other Lithuanians have done that. So it's not. It's just because one individual wouldn't do that doesn't mean that the culture is like against that.
Hey guys, of course, let us know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Join the Discord, and as always, share as much kindness as possible.